When I was a kid, I hid my heart underneath my bed because my mom said to me, if you're not careful with that, someday someone is going to break it. Now, take it from me, under the bed is not a good hiding spot. I know, because I've been shot down so many times, I get altitude sickness just from standing up for myself. But that's what we were told, right? Stand up for yourself. That can be a hard thing if you don't know who you are. We were expected to define ourselves at such an early age, and if we didn't, others did it for us. Geek, fatty, stupid, idiot. We were being asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? Now, I always felt that this was an unfair question. It presupposes that we can't just be what we already are. We were kids. You know, I think it's fair to say that nearly every one of us, at one point in our lives, has experienced what it's like to have either been bullied or have been the bully. In his TED Talk, Shane Koyczan explores both ends of this spectrum and reaches an open hand out to those of us who are ever made to feel uncomfortable in our own skin. To this day, a TED Talk by Shane Koyczan. When I was 8 years old, I wanted to be a marine biologist. When I was 9, I saw the movie Jaws for the first time and I thought to myself, no thank you. When I was 10, I was told that my parents left because they didn't want me. When I was 11, I wanted to be left alone. When I was 12, I wanted to die. When I was 13, I wanted to kill a kid. And when I was 14, I was asked to please seriously consider a career path. So I said, you know, I think I'd like to be a writer. And they said, choose something a little bit more realistic. So I said, professional wrestler. And they said, don't be stupid. See, they asked me what I wanted to be and then told me what not to be. I was being told to accept the identity that others will give me. And I wondered what it was about them that made my dreams so easy to dismiss. So I thought to myself, what now? Where do I turn? Poetry. Like a boomerang, the thing I loved came back to me. One of the first lines of poetry I can remember writing was in response to a world that demanded I hate myself. From ages 15 to 18, I hated myself for becoming the thing that I most loathed, a bully. When I was 19 years old, I wrote, I will love myself, despite the ease with which I lean towards the opposite. Standing up for yourself does not have to mean embracing violence. I remember this plan I had, born out of frustration from a kid who kept calling me Yogi, then pointing at my stomach and saying, too many picnic baskets. Turns out, it's not that hard to trick somebody. And one day before class I said to him, oh yeah, sure man, you can copy my homework. And I gave him all of the wrong answers that I'd written down the night before. He was expecting a near perfect score and couldn't believe it when he saw that big, fat 0 waiting for him at the top of the page. But my satisfaction was really complete when he looked at me, puzzled, and I thought to myself, smarter than the average bear, jackass. See, this is who I am. This is how I stand up for myself. When I was little, I used to think that pork chops and karate chops were the same thing. I thought they were both pork chops. And because I was little and because my grandmother thought I was cute, she let me keep doing it. Not really a big deal. Well, one day, before I learned that fat kids are not designed to climb trees, I fell out of a tree and I bruised the entire right side of my body. Now, I didn't tell my grandmother about it because I didn't want to get in trouble for playing in a place that I shouldn't have been. But a few days later, a gym teacher saw the bruise, and he sent me to the principal's office. From there, I was sent to another really small room with a very nice lady who asked me all kinds of questions about my life at home. Well, I saw no reason to lie. I mean, as far as I was concerned, I had it pretty good. I told her whenever I'm sad, my grandmother, she gives me karate chops. This led to a full-scale investigation, and I was removed from the house for 3 days until finally someone decided to ask me just how it was that I got the bruises. News of this silly little story quickly spread throughout the school, and I earned my first nickname, Pork Chop. To this day, I hate pork chops. But I'm not the only one who grew up this way, surrounded by people who used to say that thing about sticks and stones. as if physical pain hurt more than the names we were called. You know, we grew up believing that nobody would ever fall in love with us, that we would be lonely forever, that we would never meet someone to make us feel like the sun was something they built for us in their tool shed, and then we tried to empty ourselves so that we'd feel nothing. Don't tell me that hurt less than a broken bone, that there's no way for that kind of pain to settle deep within the heart. It does. To this day, kids are still being called names. It seems like every school has an arsenal of them that are just getting updated every year. So if a kid snaps in a school and nobody around chooses to hear, do they make a sound? Or are they just background noise to when people say things like, no, kids can be cruel? Every school was a big top circus tent. And the pecking order, it went from the acrobats to the lion tamers, to the clowns, and then to the carnies. And all of these were miles ahead of who we were. We were the freaks. The lobster claw boys and the bearded ladies. Oddities juggling depression and loneliness. But I want to tell each and every one of them that all of this is just left over from that moment when you finally decided to embrace all of the beautiful things that you were never told you are. And if you can't see anything beautiful about yourself, get a better mirror. Look a little bit closer, because there is something inside of you that makes you keep trying, despite everyone who told you to quit. You know, we grew up learning to cheer on the underdog because we see ourselves in it. We stem from the root planted in the belief that we are not the names that we were called. We are not abandoned cars stalled out and sitting on empty on some highway somewhere. And if in some way you are, don't worry. You only got out to walk and get gas. We are graduating members from the class of We Made It. Not the faded echoes of voices crying out, names will never hurt me. Of course they did. But our lives will only ever always continue to be a balancing act that has less to do with pain and more to do with beauty. So build a cast around your broken heart and sign it for yourself. Sign it, they were wrong. Because maybe it didn't belong to a group or a clique. Maybe they decided to pick you last for basketball or for everything. Believe that they were wrong. They have to be wrong. Why else would we still be here?